Hello everybody, welcome to another Psych tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to add backgrounds. The reason why is because this guy said amazing. I'm going to try to make a back for my mod, but it doesn't work. I hope you're sure it's going to help me. And you're in luck, because I was going to. And then another thing that happened is that I actually managed to teach somebody something, which is quite surprising. So anyway, today I'm going to teach you how to backgrounds. So I've already got it downloaded, but in a Google Drive there will be a link to get to the asset. I did do a problem where I gave a link to the Google Drive itself. You need to ask for permission for that. So yeah, that's why I've added links to each item and not everything, and not the actual Google Drive link itself. So download this called example stage.zip. Once you have this, is what you will have. It's got two files, one called example stage.json, one called example stage.lua. You go into shift select them and copy, and you're going to go into FNF Psych engine, mods, one of the stages, and you're going to paste it in. And over here, you can now rename them. So name it. So you're going to rename them both, and you're going to name it what you want your background to be called. So I'm going to make a bendy background. So I'm going to name it bendy background. And here's what you have. So also, what you need to do is you need to go on mods and images, and you need to make certain images. So if I open this up, you have to do this. You have to do the back one. So it's based. It is going to be basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy the code from week 1, but we're going to do it so the back piece will be our background, and the rest will be invisible. So there's the curtains. There's nothing. Here is the front. There is nothing. Here's the light. There is nothing. And apart from that, these are going to be invisible, and the back is going to be the only one that's visible. So that's why we're going to be using week 1's code. So let's start with the JSON, since it's the least complex. I'm going to open it like this. And directory does nothing. We can ignore that because it does do something, but it's not important and it won't affect. So over here is the default zoom. So what happens is that if I open up my mods, if I go back into mods and images, and I open up my background I made, you may notice there's these weird blue things and how there's got a border around it. That's because it's normally zoomed in. I don't know what zoom it's at, so I'm just going to keep it at 0.9. And over here is pixel stage, and it's not, so just keep that false. And over here is the position, or the offset of the characters. You can use the character editor and FNF to see where the character would be, and see which one's right, because you can just copy the position from there and it will be fine, so that's cool. So now we're going to move on to the more complex one, which is the Lua File. This controls what assets are, if they're visible, where they are. So if I open this up, here it is. So it's just function on create, and I'm not going to read that. It says make Lua sprite stage back. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to the image you made. So I made one called Bendy Face 2, which is replacing the back image from week 1. So I'm going to rename this one, but I'm actually going to Control C. I'm going to enter into the code again and replace stage back with my new stage back, which is going to be the only asset that is visible. Here you go. It's just to replace every single one. So if you are having issues, you may have forgot one, or something like that, or you maybe deleted some of these, may have deleted some of the quotation marks and stuff like that. You need to remember. Just make sure that's careful, because quotation marks are quite important, and if they don't work, then it will break too. So I start with the stage front, which I have here called Bendy Face 2 front, which is invisible, of course, because if you want, you can do this. You can make it invisible, but you have to make sure it's a floor or something. Do it so it's like a front piece, because this will be near the very front. I'm pretty sure the curtain's at the very front, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah. You're going to place every single one with it. And this one also has an extra one to show the size of the object, because this one's going to be covering the entire screen. So that's why that one is now the size one. There you go. Okay, so this here controls if a sprite low quality is turned. So if low quality is turned off, then these will show. But if low quality is turned on, then these won't load in the game. It can reduce how long it takes to load. I always play out low detail, but either way these are going to be invisible, so you probably don't need them. But if you are going to use them, you can make them like chairs or something, and they won't load in. But here's the tricky part. This is the stage light. So if I go into here, Bendy Face 2 light, I'm going to copy this. But as you can tell, this is different. Over here, it's saying stage light and stage right, but this one says stage light underscore right, this one says stage light underscore left. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep the underscore left, but you're going to replace the stage light here with your bendy phase 2 light or whatever image you're using. These are not going to be visible anyway, so even if flow quality is turned on, there's no point of loading it. But yeah, so after here is the stage light. You're gonna replace this with the image. No left or right in this one. All this is doing is referencing the image. The reason why this one over here says right and left, these aren't separate images. These here are basically saying this is right, this is left. This is what image they're using. They're using the same image, but over here it says to flip X. So right now they're going to flip the X instead. That's how they're going to do it. So I'm not going to play stage right with this. Keep the underscore right, because you need to make sure they've got the same name too for every single one. So if, for example, if I messed up on one of them and made something different, then it won't know what to do. Because right now it's saying make this Lua sprite. It's now going to reference this sprite. It's going to reference it again. So if you messed up on one of them, then it's not going to reference it because it doesn't exist apparently to it. Okay, now we've done all of this, we're going to go on to the stage curtains. And of course they are invisible, but they don't need to. Stage curtains are the very front layer, so if you're going to add something, make sure to add it on the front layer, and that will be the curtains. You can also change that later, because I'll go on to that topic later, how you can change the layering. Okay, let's move this. Okay, so once I've done these, we've now got the layering. So over here it's saying if they're visible. Right now this isn't invisible, so that means it's false. And also over here is the order that they're in. So for example, stage back. So it basically the very top of here, so for example stage back will be at the very bottom and the curtains will be at the very top. And that's because it goes bottom to top. So the bottom of the text is where the top layer will be, and the top of the text is where the bottom layer will be. What you're going to do is you're going to get your bendy phase 2, whatever image you use for stage back. I use bendy phase 2. I'm then going to replace it with stage back. Same as stage front, I'm going to go get the image I use for stage front, which is over here. There you go. Let's replace it. And then I'm going to get the stage light. You don't need to copy, you can always just copy this. You don't need to copy the right underscore bit, replace the entire thing. Just make sure you have the stage light bit here. I'm going to remove this. Paste it in, and now it says underscore left, which means it should be the same name as the one we had before. Then finally we've got the curtains, which we're going to also copy and replace. And if you really want to, you can mess with the order or add an entirely new section. If you want to add another new asset, then you can just copy this code, make a space, and then add that in and change the values for the image you've got. So once this is done, this is what you have. So each image has been replaced with the one we had. Everyone but the back one is invisible for me, but you can add a chair for something. But I would add a chair in the back layer if I were you, because you don't want to be in front of boyfriend, because that does give a sense of layering, but I don't really like it. So once you're done, you can save it. And now I'm going to load up Psych engine. In my older video, I went over how you could. In my last video, I went over how you can basically load the game and open this modding menu, but you don't need to do much of that. You just need to know how to load the game, which in my other video I went over. But that was also a bit less complex, so if you're looking forward to add a character or something, then you can go on that tutorial. So I'm not going to be fun just to test it. Now that we're in, I'm going to press the lucky number of 7. And that will open this menu up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the opponent, because I want to do that, to change it to bendy. In the last video I said how to change the opponent anyways, but that's how if you don't know. Over here's the stage, which I'm going to now it's going to be the name of your JSON Lua file, which for me was bendy background, so I'm going to click that, I'm going to press enter to test it. Now I don't know how good the zoom is, but I think I don't think you'll be able to see. Okay, you can see some of the black, but that's because I haven't zoomed it in enough. But apart from that, it looks pretty good. You can always change the position, because bendy does look a bit close and he's a bit lower than usual. But you can always change that in the JSON file. So if you enjoyed that, make sure to like and subscribe. The main part is to comment if you have any problems, because now that guy knows how to add background, and he also in the last video knows how to make a character, and he got it working. So that shows each tutorial is going to really help you if you do know what you're doing, and you do always need help at one point in your time, because I did too, and now I'm helping you guys. So write in the comments below if you do need any problems.